I'm Adrian Peterson of the Minnesota Vikings, and you're watching the best sports coverage on News OK.
I thought was really an excellent effort all around. I thought it really began with the defense and forcing an early fumble and returning it for a touchdown, and then playing so solidly through the rest of the game, just to limit them with a team that after 9 games came into the game leading the league in total offense and was first or second in scoring offense. To limit them as we did and make the stops that we did was a real positive. Defensively, some guys that from us who really stood out or players of the game were Brian Jackson, once again had an incredible day, and Travis Lewis really and then many of the guys up front as always have played really well. And then offensively, I was encouraged at really how Landry threw the football, throwing near 400 yards. And taking care of the football. We have the one turnover that leads to a touchdown, but outside of that, there's no fumbles during the along the day, and no other balls that were really in jeopardy as far as throwing them. So the execution was good, and we ran for well over 200 yards. DeMarco Murray had another incredible day with roughly 230 all-purpose yards, and receiving and running the ball. Thought the offensive line, Trent Williams and DeMarco Murray, were our players of the game. Trent Williams had an outstanding day going against their great pass rusher, and really was excellent through the whole day. And I thought our kicking game was very solid again. Tress Way right around 47 yards punting the football. All our cover units were really strong and good. We had 11 kickoffs and really covered well the whole night. So anyway, it gets us to now going down to Texas Tech here this week. It's always challenging playing Mike's teams, who he does an excellent job of coaching, and defending their offense is always a big challenge of limiting them and making your plays, getting your stops, hopefully getting to the quarterback, but also stopping their run game, trying to get turnovers, and then offensively, hopefully we can just have some continuity of being able to keep some balance, rush the football, protect the quarterback, protect the football, those kind of things that you need to do to win games and play good special teams again.
What's your thoughts about your name being linked to Notre Dame?
I don't have any thoughts about, there's nothing to talk about. Notre Dame has a coach, and I have a great job, and, people just make stuff up. I don't need to comment on that. That's, if there's some basis to anything, I'll gladly comment on it. But just some guy just makes something up, I don't need to comment on that stuff.
Bob, DeMarco, you've always used him in the slot and different things, but it seemed like DeMarco said there was a conscientious effort to put him in the backfield more. Can you talk about that and how that allows him to get more carries, or does it? Well,
we're just trying to find different ways to get him, to get him the football outside of just turning and handing it to him. And the other night, he had a good number of touches and he had a ton of yards, and he can do a lot of things. He's talented in that you could use him as a part-time receiver, or bring him out from the receiver position back in motion into the backfield, and so there's a lot of options with him.
Will the Wildcat continue to grow in your offense?
Hopefully, we'll see. Again, it's just an opportunity for. You between those guys of Ryan Broyles and Chris Brown and DeMarco Murray of trying to find different ways for them to have their hands on the ball.
What's your grade of the offensive line? You talked about it being good, but
well, they played really well Saturday. Second quarter, we still had too many penalties, so we're still trying to work through that. But as far as I felt that way the week before. But as far as blocking and protecting, those kind of things, they're making good improvement.
Any progress in Brian Simmons?
He practiced yesterday, so he is set to play this week, provided not everything goes as it should this week.
Bob, we talked a lot about your winning streak at home and your success at home, but it's not just that you win; it's how you win. You dominate almost everybody you play. Have you put your finger on why you play so well at home?
I don't know that there's any one reason why. I think it all gets down to maybe, momentum, crowd. I think anytime you win big, there's other scores such as defensive scores or special team scores, or there's usually a number of turnovers. I think back to last year's, some of those games, where we'd have a defense return the ball to the inside the 5 2 different times. Usually it's everybody contributes anytime you have those kind of margins of victories. That there's big plays in there on every part of the in every part of the game.
This season, it's 50 points a game at home. I think, I'm not sure, 17 points a game on the road. Why the disparity?
Well, you have to look at everything. I mean, opponent probably makes a difference, and and style of defenses you're going against. The number of turnovers you get, whether you're at home or on the road. It all goes together. Similar to what I just said. It's there's a lot of differences.
Have you seen more turnovers, more penalties as well on the road, where guys are not focusing?
I think it's fair to say we've had more on the road, both of those, and probably haven't forced as many.
I know you guys are work on that noise thing out there with the speakers and the music and stuff, but is there any way to coach into guys the ability to focus, the ability to not get
If
nervous
you got
by
another
crowd?
way of doing it, give
I
it
have
to
no
me.
idea.
So, like I said, I'm not going to invite 85,000 people here to yell at us for Wednesday and Thursday's practices. I don't think they'd come. So, anyway, we do all we can.
Bob, is DeJuan Miller maybe another playmaker in waiting that y'all just haven't been able to get the most out of yet?
Well, I think we have. DeJuan has had some really nice games. I think what happens maybe in last week's game didn't have as many opportunities. But the week before in the Nebraska game, he had some really nice catches. Kansas State game he did, So, we've been very excited about the progress of DeJuan. And he was fine the other night. It's just some games with as many keys, as the different personnel we're trying to work around, he has more opportunities in some games than others. And sometimes it just works out that way depending on the coverage they're playing or where the quarterback's reading first. But DeJuan, you were very excited about his progress through the middle part of this year and how he's come on.
What about Calhoun? Will he play more of a role after a great game?
Well, I thought DeMarco and Chris had really good games too. So, there's only so many touches out there, but he's always ready to go and continues to make improvement.
Speaking of DeMarco, getting him in space with move like on that screen pass when he's moving and he catches it in stride, seems like it really is he's a special kind of guy that can make guys miss on the move, full speed. And there's not a lot of those.
No, absolutely. But we've seen that from DeMarco for a few years now. He's in, and it's what's not only the speed out there or ability to make some people miss him, but his ability to run through. Some people just get an arm on you or don't get their whole body on you. You're not stopping him. He's so powerful that he runs through a lot of stuff too. We call it just running through trash. Arm tackles or guys that aren't in position to truly tackle you. He can, that's why he was so effective on returning kickoffs. There's a good number through the year that, when he's back there, you got a chance to go all the way because his ability to run through stuff.
Kevin talked last week about the emphasis of getting him the ball more as well as Ryan. Could you talk about that decision-making process and, like you just said, getting him in space and getting him the ball more?
Well, it isn't a new revelation. We've always wanted it in their hands. It's just trying to find more ways to do it and or even eliminating the quarterback once in a while so they got it immediately and trying to play hide and seek with the football, and hopefully catching a seam and, creating a big play. So, again, it's not like we all of a sudden realize they're big playmakers, but you're just trying to find easier ways for them to have their hands on the ball.